What's up, guys? It's Sports Preview Show here today, and I'm gonna be bringing you guys a my first podcast ever on Sports Preview Show, and we're gonna be talking about this Saturday's crazy games, and there were a lot of crazy games, all involved top teams and really underdogs. Like nobody even thought they would win besides one game that I'm about to talk about, and that's Mississippi State versus LSU. Most people picked LSU to win this game. Some people picked Mississippi State. And Mississippi State played a really, really, really good game. Dak Prescott was good running the ball. He was good throwing the ball. Mississippi State's offensive line was amazing. Their wide receivers were amazing. Their defense was good. But right at the end of the game, when they took their starters out, they thought they had the game won. LSU kind of took that as an opportunity. I believe LSU was down 31 to 10 or 31 to 17, something like that. And LSU brought it to 34 to 29. They had 2 touchdowns in like a minute, if even that. I mean, they were back to back, but really the main factor in this game out of both teams was Dak Prescott. I mean, he played very, very well. He threw amazing, ran amazing. He just did like everything right, basically. And Mississippi State ended up winning this game 34 to 29. They ended up picking LSU off on a Hail Mary play, and that ended the game. It was really, really a good effort by LSU at the end. They had wide open wide receiver on the first touchdown they had at the end. And then the other one, he just went up and snagged it on the corner. And really, LSU, if they would have stepped up like that for like the last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter, they would have won the game, but they just didn't do it. Not the last 5 minutes of the quarter, they just didn't do it at all. They had a, I guess they had a, I mean, I didn't watch all the game. I ended up falling asleep during most of it. I was gonna do like a live uh, play-by-play call of the game, but I fell asleep. So yeah, but the main guy that really made everything happen was Dak Prescott. The top for performers out of all the players, Dak Prescott was the number one passer. He had 268 passing yards with 2 touchdowns. And I know this, he had pretty sure over 100 yards rushing. Yeah, he had over 100 yards rushing. Had 105 yards rushing with a touchdown. 56-yard touchdown. Robinson on Mississippi State. Josh Robinson had 16 carries for 197 yards, 12.3 average yards per carry with 1 touchdown, and his longest run being a 66-yard run. Mississippi State had 3 more first downs than LSU, 140 more total yards than LSU, less passing yards than LSU, and way more rushing yards than LSU. had more penalties, did better on third down conversions, and one more turnover and one, not even a minute difference of possession for the teams. So it really was, if you look at it, Mississippi's game to lose, or Mississippi State's game to lose. And they dominated them in rushing, a little bit under them in passing, but total yards they dominated them. Had 3 more first downs, pretty much the same time of possession. I mean, did better on third down. They did more stuff right than LSU did. So, I mean, that's, I mean, really that's how it was. I mean, LSU did really, really bad at running the ball. Leonard Fournette, supposed to have a big year this year, only had 38 yards on 7 attempts. Kenny Hilliard had 30 yards on 9 attempts. They didn't rush good at all. I mean, the receivers did good. Durrell had 124 yards on 6 receptions. Dupree had 120 yards on 4 receptions. I mean, got a guy that gets 120 yards and only has 4 receptions. I mean, you got to get the ball to him more. And that's just how it is. I mean, they didn't do that at all. They did really, really bad in doing that. And that's just, you got to give the ball to your playmakers. You have to give the ball to your playmakers. You have to. Absolutely have to. I mean, you don't ever want to go without giving the ball to your playmakers. And now, here we go. Clemson and Florida State. Florida State didn't have Jameis Winston. They were going to have him in the second half, but they extended his suspension. And really, Clemson should have won this game 100. Alright, not 100. Well, yeah, they should have won the game 100%. But they made a lot of mistakes. Not necessarily turnovers, but just miscues. They were in the red zone 6 times. They got 2 touchdowns and a field goal, but they missed a 27-yard field goal and a 40-yard field goal. And they had a turnover, a fumble. So, when you do all that, and the game went into overtime, you should have won the game in regulation. I mean, that's 6 points. I mean, at least 9, really, because they fumbled it in the red zone. So that's 9 points difference right there. I mean, if you expect to beat a good team, you can't do that. And really, that's why Clemson lost. It's because of that reason. But it was a really, really good game. Really fun to watch. First downs, Clemson had 17. Florida State had 18. Total yards, Clemson had 407. Florida State had 318. Passing for Clemson 306. Florida State 305. Rushing for Clemson 101. Florida State only had 13 rushing yards. Florida State suffered greatly more from penalties than Clemson did. They did the same on third down conversions. Clemson, out of the entire game, the teams only went for it once on 4th down. That was Clemson in overtime. It was 4th and 1, and Clemson is in the shotgun. And they get stopped for that reason, being in the shotgun. They weren't under center. They weren't closer to the line, so they had to go further than what they really needed to. And that's why they didn't get it. And the reason why they had the 40-yard field goal when they were in the red zone is because their center snapped it over the quarterback's head. They were on the half-yard line and were in the shotgun. I know Clemson does really, really well out of that formation, but when you're on the half-yard line or you have like 1 yard to go, you need to go under center. You need to get the ball as close as you can, as fast as you can. When you're in the shotgun, that makes your quarterback and your running back further back instead of them meeting halfway in between on being under center and giving off a handoff. So it was just more work for Clemson throughout the game. And some points it did work out. They were on the 2, were in wildcat formation in the shotgun, and got a touchdown. So, I mean, sometimes it did work out, but most of the time, in big moments where they absolutely needed it, it didn't work out. And, I mean, when you miss 27-yard field goal and a 40-yard field goal, I mean, really, that's the reason they lost. The biggest reason why they lost, because their field goal kicker. I mean, he did really, really bad. He's pretty sure he's a freshman, or like a sophomore, but this is like his first year starting. But still, I mean, you can't miss a 27-yard field goal and a 40-yard field goal. That can't happen. I mean, that's not good at all for your team. That just puts you in a 10 times tougher situation. Moving on to the next game, Oregon and Washington State. Oregon won by a touchdown. Washington State's quarterback had 436 yards for 4 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. Marcus Mariota had 329 yards for 5 touchdowns. That's really all I gotta tell you. Running backs did nothing. They didn't have to do anything. I mean, I'm not gonna go into stats on this game. I mean, if you consider Oregon the number 2 team in the nation after this game, then gonna have to call you crazy. That's just not how it should be. It should be Alabama number 1, Texas A&M or Oklahoma number 2, and then Texas A&M/Oklahoma number 3, and number 4. Then it can be Florida State, or then it can be, Oregon or Auburn or whoever. But it should not be Florida State and Oregon 1 and 2. It shouldn't be that way. They're not the best 2 teams in the nation at all. Not even close. I mean, if you think they are, then you need to watch some of their games, because they are not even close to the top 2 teams in the nation after the games they play today, and just how their entire team looked. Not only offense, not only defense, but both sides of the ball. Next, we're going to Alabama. And this was an amazing game in the first half. First half, it was 28-21, Alabama at halftime. And that's all. That's like the best. That's like the closest part of the game was the first half. Florida did really, really, really bad. They scored 21 points, but the only way they scored was as if Alabama turned it over and they had short field position. Jeff Driscoll, 9 for 28, 93 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Blake Sims, 445 yards, 13.4 average passing yards per attempt, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. Only the second quarterback in Alabama history to throw for over 400 yards. Jake Coker, he's on the passing leaders because Blake Sims went out with an injury on a running play or on a scramble, injured his elbow or shoulder, and Jake Coker came in, threw 2 passes, completed 1 4-yard touchdown pass to Amari Cooper. Now, rushing, you don't even want to hear Florida's. It was really, really bad. 59 yards for Driscoll, 37 for Matt Jones. That adds up to a total of 107. Alabama's rushing, it was not that great, but better than Florida's. Derrick Henry had 20 carries for 111 yards, and TJ Yeldon had 18 carries for 59 yards. Now, receiving leaders, I'm only going to say 2, and they're both for Alabama. 10 receptions. Sorry. Amari Cooper, 10 receptions, 201 yards. 20.1 average yards per catch. 3 touchdowns, 79-yard touchdown catch. That was his longest. Kenyon Drake, he's a running back, but we put him at wide receiver on one play. First play of the game. 87-yard touchdown. That was his only catch on the night, right there. 87 yards. Auburn, you got 3 touchdowns, right? They had 21 points. He had 3 touchdowns. We had 4 turnovers. We stopped them once on offense when we turned it over. That's the only way they scored. They never drove down the field on us or anything. That's it. That's all you need to know right there. They never drove the ball on us. They never really did anything good on offense. They just had good field position. And you look at our defense played amazing. They had 2 picks, and they had a fumble recovery. It wasn't a forced fumble. It was a miscue on Florida's part, but still a fumble recovery. They held Jeff Driscoll to 93 passing yards. And that's really, really good. The top performers are all Alabama as far as passing, rushing, and receiving. Blake Sims, 445 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 pick. Derrick Henry, 20 carries, 111 yards, 1 touchdown. And Amari Cooper, the best wide receiver in college football, 10 receptions, 201 yards, 3 touchdowns. And I'm going to show you guys this video real quick. Just to show you guys. I mean, it's like pretty straightforward. Let me turn this back on. Unmute that, and yeah. Hold on, guys. Alright. And let me assure you that they have great chemistry. They are one of the best quarterback receiver combos out there. That's what I see so far. They are some of the best quarterback receiver combinations I've ever seen. Whenever Blake Sims has to scramble or anything, the first person he looks for is Cooper. That leads me to my next topic. Alabama's rushing. Drake, pretty sure I had 1 attempt. He fumbled it. So then we put Yeldon and Henry in mainly, and they didn't really do a lot in the first half. The reason why is Florida was stacking the box, like 8 people in the box. They were forcing us to throw. And they didn't believe that Blake Sims could throw. They didn't believe that he could do that. And he showed really the whole country that he can throw the ball, that he is an actual quarterback. He's not an athlete. Which, on that like 30 whatever yard run that he had, he kind of still showed that he was an athlete, but with the throws that he had, he really did show that he was a really, really good quarterback. Real quick, going back to Florida State, I'm going to show you this and let you listen to this. And I'm going to explain basically why he is wrong. And you'll know who he is when I'm done. When the video is done. Okay, so he said that they know how to win. Then why, explain me this, why did they almost lose to Clemson? If they know how to win, they went off luck. They were lucky Clemson missed the 2 field goals. They were lucky their running back wasn't down before he fumbled, which it was actually a really close call. But they're lucky Clemson missed a 27-yard field goal. Game should have been over. They're lucky they missed a 40-yard field goal. Game should have been over. And when he said that McGuire played good, he did not play good. He had 2 interceptions and 1 touchdown. That's not good. Just those 2 stats right there, if you look at them and you have 2 interceptions and 1 touchdown, that's not good. He overthrew a lot of receivers. That's why he had 2 picks. He forced so many passes. That's why he has 2 picks. He did a lot of stuff wrong. They are just lucky that Clemson didn't make their field goals. And when he said that Winston makes mistakes, we all do, you know. He's a Heisman Trophy winner. The Heisman Trophy is supposed to show, you know, like character, of course how you play, but stuff on and off the field. Why did he get it? why did Winston get it? Yeah, he's a good player, but he's been accused of rape. Um, he got up on a table and did something during class, or like a class meeting. Then he lied about doing it, about not doing it, and he got suspended for an entire game. That's 4 things right there that everybody in the country knows of that he's done wrong. You know, that's character. That's 4 things. Name me 2 things that McCarron's done. Name me 2 things that all the other people in the Heisman race last year have done. Exactly. That's nobody else really did anything. But the guy that won it is the guy with the least amount of character. And that's supposed to go into who gets it. That's not right at all for any of the runner-ups. I mean, Clemson's quarterback, Deshaun Watson, had 226 yards passing with 0 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. He had a rushing touchdown, though. But, I mean, Clemson, if they would have hit their field goals, probably the easiest win. Not the easiest win, but probably would have went their way. It should have went their way. Clemson should have won this game. But, I mean, I guess that's just how it crumbled, you know. That's how it went down. But, next game, Indiana and Missouri. Forgot to mute that last time. Indiana won 31-27. Missouri's defense just could not stop Indiana. Their read option, their tosses, everything. They just couldn't stop them. It was a really close game, but Indiana scored with 22 seconds left. D'Angelo Roberts had a 3-yard touchdown run. All of the running backs for Indiana that rushed combined for 246 yards and 3 touchdowns. Indiana and Missouri both ran 83 plays. They both had pretty much the same amount of total yards. Missouri actually won that by 5 or 6. I mean, it's a really close game, but I mean, that's just that. Missouri, really, if you have an option offense and you can't stop them, if they're only going one way, which obviously their running backs are doing amazing, so they're obviously getting it to the running backs. If you can't stop their running backs, then the quarterback's going to keep giving it to them. But then eventually, right, you're going to stop them maybe 1 or 2 times. Then you're going to start focusing on the running backs more. That's when the quarterback's going to keep it. That's when the quarterback's going to burn you. So, if you can barely stop the running backs, then what are you going to do about the quarterback and the running back? That's why Indiana won. That's why Missouri lost. And that's that game. Really, that's it. And really, that's the only games I wanted to talk about. I mean, there's a couple more games, but that's only really the ones that I wanted to talk about. Kansas State and Auburn. Kansas State's field goal team, field goal unit did awful. That's why they lost. Turnovers too, that's why Kansas State lost. I mean, really, it's just like, come on. Like, play an all-around complete game and you will win. I mean, you don't have to stop a team every time on defense to win, but you at least need to hit some field goals or make some possessions count. I mean, some teams just didn't do that. That's how they lost. That's how upsets happen. That's how teams that, weren't even considered close to even being thought that they would win won. Some teams that should have won lost. And if you don't play an all-around complete game against another good team, then you're not going to win. And that showed this week. And it really showed that whoever comes up that day, whoever shows up that day and plays a complete game will win. And that's just how it was this week. Really crazy week in college football. But I'm going to end the podcast with a little bit of Pigskin Empire. If you don't know what that is, then I'm about to show you. So, yeah. Hold on. Gotta do something real quick though. Okay. So Pigskin Empire is a football game. Online football game. You have you're like a coach of a team. You coach a team. Yeah. So yeah, that's about all I gotta tell you. Here we go. I'm about to turn it on and boom. Okay. This is a home screen. That's my coach. Bang. I only have that because I've left a lot of teams. You can tell I'm a really good offensive coach. Good scouting. Yeah. We're DeQuincy. They're a Division II team. This is just like my first for real job. I used to never play this game really for real, but now that I've gotten into football, like a lot I have now. And that's actually my granddad right there. That's his stats. He's the head coach now. In his first year, he won All Northeast Coach of the Year. So yeah, good for him. But yeah, we just ended the season. We went 8-4, 8-2 in our conference. We played really well actually. If we didn't slump right there in that part of the season, then we would have done pretty good. But that one slump right there in the season messed us up big time. We didn't get to make it to the playoffs or anything special. So, right here, this is all our commits. Yeah. That guy is probably not even going to get to play at all. But, as you can see, you got 2 4-star offensive outside linebackers, 4-star offensive guard, and then some good 3 stars coming in. We have done absolutely amazing recruiting this year. Our playbook's looking good. Everything's looking alright. Really, the main three formations we run are the spread, shotgun, and wishbone. That's really our main three formations that we run. That's the main two we love to run. And take you to the depth chart. He's not coming back next year, but this guy is. The reason why I like this guy is because of that. Right there. Speed. He's like got the best speed out of like all our quarterbacks. But if we get a freshman that's faster than him, then I'm gonna let him start, because when we run the option, I want a fast quarterback, or throwing the ball on a fast quarterback, get out of a sticky situation. But I want a quarterback that can throw pretty good too, and that was Matonis last year. He threw really, really well for us. So, we had a pretty good year. You can see I got 60 hours. That's like how much time you got to do stuff. Let's see about the playoffs. Oh, that's Division 1. We're in Division 2. Oops. Hold on, let me go to leagues. This is Division 1. Gonna see who won this. It's not over yet. Fresno State loses to USC. USC beats Central Florida. So, wow. Yeah, that's how that went down. So, this is ours. You can see we didn't make it. Tennessee Martin's probably gonna win it. Just gonna call it. Tennessee Martin's like amazing. So yeah, but pretty sure either Texas or USC is gonna win it. In South Carolina might, but I kinda doubt it. Let's see here. Alabama going up against Louisville. I believe Alabama will win. That's just how I feel. Troy going up against Duke. I feel like Duke should take that one. Right here. Not really worried about that. It's just like a invitational tournament. But yeah, we had really good year last year. Really good team effort. We got a defensive coordinator and everything. So we're ready for next year, that's for sure. Let me take a drink real quick. Yeah, we're ready to go for next year though. We are ready to get it done. Our recruiting's been amazing. Everything really for us has just been good. We played an amazing year. Let me show you our averages real quick. We averaged 27 points scored, 20 points allowed. So that's not that bad. Could be better. You see there are, like, in these 3 games, we dominated the teams we played. Central Con State, you can see, came in second. We, like, destroyed them. Yeah, but that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for tuning in to the podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll be doing this, like, every week. So, yeah. Talk to you guys later, and see you.